Unit 4, Lesson 7, Practice Problems number 2. Whiskers the cat weighs 2 2/3 kilograms. Piglio weighs 4 kilograms. For each question, write a multiplication equation and a division equation. Decide whether the answer is greater than 1 or less than 1, and then find the answer. A says, how many times as heavy as Piglio is Whiskers? B says, how many times as heavy as Whiskers is Piglio? All right, we're doing some comparison. How many times as heavy? How many times as heavy? So since we're comparing two different things, it will be easiest if we draw them out. One of them is 4 kilograms, one of them is 2 2/3 kilograms. I'm going to draw both of these the same. I'm going to put Whiskers on top. Whiskers. And I'm going to put Piglio on the bottom. Whiskers is 2 2/3. Piglio is 4 kilograms. So on the bottom we have 4. We're going to split this up into 4 equal pieces. We have 1, that's too small. That's too orange. 1, 2, 3, 4 kilograms for Piglio. We can fit it in a bit. Oops. So that we know that Piglio is this whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4 kilograms. Whiskers is 2 2/3 kilograms. So we're going to split it up the same. One, 2, 3, 4. But Piglio is 1, 2, 2/3. So here, let's use a different color. We're going to do thirds in this box. Piglio is 1, 2, 1/3, 2/3. 2 2/3 kilograms. So up here, sorry, this is Whiskers. Whiskers is 1, 2, 2/3 kilograms. All right, now we have Whiskers and Piglio. We can sort of see now how they compare. Piglio is heavier than Whiskers. Whiskers is lighter than Piglio. We can sort of start to see how many times as heavy. So A says, how many times as heavy as Piglio is Whiskers? It's confusing. It says is Whiskers. So Whiskers is how many times as heavy as Piglio. Whiskers is not as heavy as Piglio. So it says for each question, write a multiplication equation and division equation to decide whether the answer is greater than 1 or less than 1, then find the answer. Whiskers is lighter than Piglio. Whiskers is less than 1 of Piglio. So we know that the answer is going to be less than 1. We need a multiplication equation. Whiskers is how many times as heavy. So question mark, how many times as heavy as Piglio? Piglio's 4. How much of 4 is 2 2/3? That's our multiplication equation. Question mark times 4 equals 2 2/3. And then our division equation, 2 2/3 divided by 4 equals question mark. Remember, this says how many 4s fit into 2 2/3. We know that it's going to be smaller than 1, right? Because 4 is bigger than 2 2/3. So only a piece of 4 is going to fit into 2 2/3. So we know less than 1. Now we just have to figure out what is our answer. Another way to think of this is what fraction of 4 is 2 2/3? This is 2 2/3, and that's 4. So we want to know what fraction is this. Of the whole thing. Now, these are not equal sized pieces, so that can be kind of tough. But if we cut them up all into thirds, that could help us. Now we have equal sized pieces. We want to know, what is this pink rectangle? So, the pink rectangle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces shaded out of 9, 10, 11, 12. So, Piglio's 8/12 as big or as heavy as Whiskers. 8/12 is also equal to 4 goes into both of these. 2/3. So both of these solutions are correct. 8/12. 8/12 or 2/3. Now, the next one says how many times as heavy as Whiskers is Piglio. Piglio is heavier than Whiskers, so we know it's going to be more than 1. And we want to know how many times as heavy. So Piglio is how many times as heavy as Whiskers. Whiskers is 2 2/3. As Piglio. How many times as heavy as Whiskers, 2 2/3, is Piglio? Question mark times 2 2/3 equals 4. Our division problem is 4 divided by 2 2/3 equals question mark. Remember that this division problem means how many 2 2/3 fit into 4. So I'm going to try and erase some stuff. Let's move this over here. That's our solution for A. We want to know how much, whoops, I got rid of Piglio. How much of, or sorry, how many 2/3 go into 4? So this is 2 2/3. So here we can see that one group of 2 2/3 one group of 2 2/3. Oops. One group of 2 2/3. And then we want to know how much of a group is this bit. How much of a group is the red part? Take it and put it over here. My lines are not perfect. But here we see that this is 4/3. And over here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I had made these more accurate, we could see that this red is half of a group. So here is a half a group of 2 2/3. So how many times does 2 2/3 fit into 4? One time and a half of the time. So our solution is 1 1/2. 1 1/2 times as heavy as Whiskers. This question is very challenging. There's lots of parts to it. So if we didn't get it on our own, that's okay. This is very challenging.